tail because they're just better. They're more skilled. They're more advanced than you are and that you may ever be. The Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant yesterday proved that they are more skilled and more advanced and better than I think all but two teams will be this year. Point blank, period. KD in 19 minutes, he went 5 for 5. He gave you, 17 points on 5 shots. Mathematically, you start doing things, and you're like, is that even statistically possible? You got to start double-checking, check free throws and all that. Kevin Durant had 7 boards, 5 assists, 19 minutes. Here's how I look at it. The only counterpoint is we haven't seen the big three play together, and that means something. That means something to me. But the fact of the matter is, even without the big three, they still win 75% of the games. That 75% of the games is the best record in the NBA. Without the big three, the Nets are 27-9. Without the big three, they still nice. So even with 2 of the big three, they better than just about everybody else. So do you even need to worry, are the Nets going to have the big three? Will the big three ever be able to mesh and gel? It's irrelevant because the big 2, whichever 2 there are, KD, Kyrie, KD, Harden, Harden, Kyrie, all it takes is 2 for the Nets to get the job done. For me, everybody else needs to buckle up, except for my Lakers.
Oh, stop.
Acho, your counterpoint should have been your point. You got to something there. It just took you a while to get there.
That's how I beat.
Look, it doesn't mean anything other than the other offensive stars in the league aren't probably going to get the same level of highlights that they did previously because KD's going to be eating those up. And in the short term, the opponents that the Nets are going to face over the next 10 days or so are not going to get a break with James Harden being out with his hamstring issue. But beyond that, until we see Kyrie, James, KD, Blake, and LaMarcus Aldridge, so we see the full package, we're really not going to know who they are. And I just knew you were going to make way too much out of them boat racing the New Orleans Pelicans, a team that is, let me check, 28th in defense. Would we have expected anything else? They were dead man walking. The Nets didn't prove anything last night. The Pelicans proved that they don't care whether Stan Van Gundy gets fired or not. That was the proof of last night's game.
Slick,
beyond that, I'm not taking anything more out of that. I expected KD to roll.
I got to ask you something, though, Slick, because, yes, the Pelicans' defensive efficiency is terrible. But last I checked, their offensive efficiency is 8th, if I am not mistaken. Last I checked, Zion was 1 game away from breaking Shaquille O'Neal's record. They were tied, most consecutive games scoring at least 20 points while shooting 50% from the field. So the Pelicans' offensive efficiency is something to reckon with. But, Slick, I think the greater point to reckon with is this. We all say, yeah, we can't draw a conclusion until we see the big three. I used to say that very same thing. But what do you need to see the big three for if 2 is enough? If 2 weren't enough, then I'd be with you. But it appears that 2 is enough, whether Harden and Kyrie, whether KD and Kyrie, 2's enough to get the job done. So we're still sitting here talking about, well, they need those 3 to beat who? I don't think they need the big 3 to beat much of anybody except the Lakers, except Marcellus's Clippers, and maybe the Sixers if they're firing on all cylinders.
If we're talking regular season, you are correct. If we're talking postseason, when everything gets more physical and defense becomes an element in this conversation, and the efficiency of who's going to take shots when, and chemistry becomes an important element to it all, endurance, all of that, synchronicity, all of that comes together, then we're talking about a different equation. Look, this is a very hard argument for me to make because I knew from the beginning that they were going to roll teams during the regular season because you just can't prepare for that offense. But when you get to the playoffs, you can. They remind me a lot of the Milwaukee Bucks the last few years and the Rockets from a few years ago, where they would just roll over teams, and they did it so easily. They were never in these possession-by-possession games where at the end of a game, they not only had to score, but they had to get stops. When you haven't had to do that, when you haven't proved that you're capable of doing that, there's going to be a question raised once you get to the postseason, because as we know, by and large, no matter how much you blow teams out during the regular season, when you get to the playoffs, you're going to have those last possession situations. And I dare say a team that's never been in them before is going to be at a disadvantage against teams that have.
Look, I don't want to overthink this one. I'm glad Acho is now on my side. You know I'm a Clipper fan to the fullest. But when I saw this super team get put together, I saw these Avengers come together, I said, oh, man, everybody, including us Clippers, are in trouble. It's just that simple. So one word comes to mind. What Clubber Lang say? Pain. Pain for the rest of the NBA because these dudes are not playing. It's literally a big three that we haven't even seen form just yet, and it's deadly already as just a dynamic duo. Going against other dynamic duos, the Clippers, obviously Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, the Lakers, when healthy, LeBron James and AD. And then what else? Because think about this big three. It's KD, it's Harden, and it's Kyrie, y'all. I don't think you understand what I'm talking about. So this year, averaging 81 points to game as a dynamic, as a big three, no one's close. 13 points per game more than the next trio. And it's Lillard, McCollum, and Trent. That's not it, y'all. Let's go historically. Listen to this KD, Kyrie, and Harden big three versus other big threes and what they've done over the years. Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker were killing it. Y'all remember that? 4 finals appearances and 4 championships. Is that this? I'm not going to, all right. LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh. Insane, right? 4 finals appearances, 2 championships. Is that this? Golden State Warriors, Klay, Steph, and KD. Maybe that's the closest in terms of talent level, all 3 of the guys. But still, is that this? This is a problem, y'all. We about to watch a versus. Like, yeah, versus being filmed. It's going to be Rob Base versus Onyx. Because Rob Base got It Takes Two to make a thing go right. Right? It Takes Two. That's the Lakers and the Clippers out there trying to win. And then Onyx, y'all know Sticky Fingers? Wait, it gets worse because they got another dude coming off that's just going to kill it. So these Avengers versus all these other dynamic duels, y'all know how this movie's going to end. Ugly for the rest of the league.
I always know you guys are in trouble when you start making movie references. And that's for sure.
Music?
We're not going to go to the sports. We're going to go to some other fantasy magical place where defense doesn't matter. I swear Marcellus must have gone into the digital room because I was going to bring back the full screen of what teams ranked defensively that won championships. But apparently he went back in there and he burned it so that I couldn't pull it out. But let me tell you,
it doesn't exist.
The Nets are still ranked 23rd defensively in defensive efficiency. No team has ever been ranked that low and won a championship. Not even the Los Angeles Lakers, who are the defending champions and had Kobe and Shaq. They were 22nd, and they had nothing to prove during that regular season. You guys keep talking about offense, and their offense is amazing. Defense still matters, and they have not demonstrated that they're capable of playing championship-level defense. And during the regular season, it doesn't matter. We've seen Mike D'Antoni make a career out of having great offensive teams. What happens when they get to the postseason? We've seen it over and over again. We fall in love with the offense. I love their team, but until they demonstrate that they can get stops, that defensively they're going to be good, and I look around, it's like, okay, KD coming back. Is he going to make them better defensively? Nah. James Harden? Nah. Kyrie Irving? Nah. Blake Griffin? I think Blake Griffin's going to contribute, but he's not a rim protector. LaMarcus Aldridge? He's not a rim protector. So until you guys tell me how this team is going to improve defensively when to this point they haven't, I'm going to say, you know what? I love the show, but I ain't buying any tickets just yet.
Nah, Slick, I'm actually